Alright, about 9:22, day 5. Wait, day 5? Christ, I lost track. No, day 4. Left camp at about 8:15, about an hour in, probably 2.5 miles or so to pretty easy terrain today. We're going to do an 8.2 to a campsite instead of a shelter. It's the last stop before starting a 5-mile trek through an area that requires you to carry a bear canister if you're staying overnight. There's no way we'd be able to push 5 extra miles past the 8.2 and climb Blood Mountain, which is right in the middle of it. That's the actual first real climb, other than the approach trail, in my opinion. It's not the up. The up is bad, but the down is granite slab, and if it's wet, people have ended their hike there. So we're going to stop about a mile short at a campsite. Pretty much 40 of us. This time it's the shelter locations that designate your hike. You really can't push much further past them, and unless you're trying to stealth camp somewhere, and try and avoid that. But decent day. Rained all night last night. It's the 4th night without any kind of real sleep. Couple of hours. I don't know why. Last night I remember yawning, and I had to check to see what time it was just out of curiosity. It was 1:03 in the morning. Still up. Went to use the bathroom. The way this shelter was set up, they had everything roped off like a maze so that they could regrow vegetation in certain areas. Pouring rain, lost in a maze, not on the AT but in a shelter, like a real idiot. Knew that was going to happen. I tried to memorize it the day before when we still had sunlight, but in a red light on my headlamp, nothing really looked the same. But yeah, after we get once we get to wherever we're going, I can't Lance Creek campground, I believe. We're gonna have a rough 5 miles the next day, getting up and over slowly, getting up and over Blood Mountain and into Neal Gap. That'll be 30 miles roughly into the official hike, and about 40 for me over the course of 5 days. I'm pretty impressed by that. Cardio's getting easier. Legs, ankles aren't hurting. Had to readjust some stuff in my pack. My food bag on the right side made my shoulder hurt so bad coming into camp each day that I couldn't move it from a rested position without it being unbearable. I just had to put it up against a tree and just force myself to rotate it until it worked itself out. But hopefully I get to Neal Gap. That's when I'll get some Wi-Fi, hopefully get some service, and then I'll just upload everything I can all at once. And they're going to be pretty crude videos right off the bat. Again, I don't really have service, so I can't download any apps. But once I download an app for video editing, I'll try and piece them together, make them a little bit better. Yeah, it's beautiful out here. Every day looks different. It looks like you're in a different part of the world somewhere. Trees are different, landscapes different, trails different, water sources are different. It's, today, foggy everywhere. Can't really see much, but doesn't look like anything special until you're out here. And it's all just you. I mean, it's not just, I'll probably get passed by half a dozen people before I get to where I'm going, at least. Some people headed out a little bit early. Me and a couple of guys headed out about, 8:15. Last night the shelter was overpacked, so the caretaker, basically just a type of ridge runner that works for the Conservancy, he let people, he couldn't really turn people down because there was nowhere else to go, but after it got overcrowded, he said, if anybody else comes in, they're going to have to walk a mile down. There's an unofficial campsite Or it was in, I don't know, but it was decent enough. We passed it this morning heading out. But, you know, it's sort of a rat race to see who can get to this campsite and make sure they got a comfortable spot. You know, it's one thing to sleep on a slight incline. You want that. You want your head above your legs. But with a sill nylon tent and a self-inflatable sleeping pad that's similar to a raft or a pool raft, every time you move it just slides. You end up crunched up at the bottom of a tent. So I really want it to be pretty much level. I'm trying to push to get there. But got some scenery coming up. Ain't gonna see much, but we'll see. Take it easy.